好きに選べばいい雨はしばらく降らないらしい
Hello once again to all you tea timers. We're turtling for the last time. Mel here, and I'm here with Katherine, as usual.
Hello.
Now we are super finished. Oh, what? I dropped a pen. You need to stop fiddling. That's when I'm recording. Fiddler. Now we're super done, Gamera. Like we finished all the movies in 1 year for Turtle Tea Time, and then we've done a 2-pod encore tour for the rebrand QT Time, and now we've run out of Gamera because we watched Gamera Rebirth, which is the last Gamera thing they made.
I'm sure I must have said this earlier in the pod at some point, but there's a lot less Gamera in the world than I kind of expected, considering Gamera as a cultural figure.
Yeah, there's manga, obviously,
Right.
and video games. I know there's a PS1 game that's the basis of a Panzer Dragoons clone, but
I'm getting a phone call real quick. I'll be right back.
okie dokie.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think conveniently enough, we weren't actually in the middle of anything, so
yeah, we're
we don't have to go. Where were we?
Yeah.
Gamera's over party.
Anything besides the topics of the podcast that you want to talk about? I think we're at that bit.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I drove 5 hours to this. I'm a bit out of it. But,
totally fine, no worries.
Yeah. What have you been up to? I know we have a thing that we've arranged to try and keep up with tentatively, but we can do that last.
Yeah, last of the keep up part. To be honest, I've basically just been no-lifing Arknights the past month. I really don't have much else to talk about.
Yeah, I did a bunch of that for the event. I'm not far enough in the main story to get to the stuff that's actually substantive.
Right, but you got the girls, right?
Yeah, I got them all. Somehow I was very fortunate to get them all.
Perfect.
And their outfits. But I'm not getting dupes or anything. Because
I
just don't know about that life.
The
event was nice.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I love Ava Musica. Little known fact about me.
I think it's a very funny Umari's story about being in the mafia.
It's great.
I told Red on the podcast last week, and they were like, "What?"
No, it's really
Like
funny.
everyone else's story is like more normal comparatively.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. So I guess I feel like Mortis maybe gets a shaft a bit in this event, but you know, it is what it is. Also, I need to read more of White Album 2, which I've read like an hour of.
Yeah, I mean, you're guesting on Moon Archive like next weekend, right?
Yeah, I have to like to read like, I don't know, 4 more hours left of it.
Yeah.
And Fate Prototype.
Yeah, I would get to that sooner than later if I were you.
Yeah, it's just been a hectic few days.
Yeah, of course.
I'll do my best to do my pod homework. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have much because unfortunately I have the bar exam this coming week, so that's been taking a lot of my time.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you. It's miserable.
Yeah,
really dumb.
I can imagine.
They give you like a big tome and be like, yeah, that's your study materials, except the smart way to study is not to actually study and memorize the materials because you can, but instead just be good at indexing. Open book.
Yeah.
Also, my province, there's like 2 exams, which is dumb. Yeah, it sucks. I didn't enjoy it.
I'm sure.
But yeah. Now I need to come up with a name for this segment. What's a unit of time that starts with R?
I don't think there is a unit of time that starts with
Whatever,
R.
I was called the red rotation.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Because Sentai is over, and Project RED is here. What is RED? Who knows what Toei's plan is, except they started with, what if we rebooted Space Sheriff Gavan, but made it Sentai coded? And so we've watched the singular episode that's out. But also there's like one more coming out like probably this evening. It's airing right now.
Yeah. I did not think this episode was particularly good.
I thought it was a fun time, but it also is a lot. I'm going to quote my friend Katia, who's a big Metal Heroes fan. She said, blah, 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 blah. Because I was just DMing her while I was watching. She said, my main thought is that it's too much premise for 20 minutes. And then proceeds to say something to the effect of, like, paraphrasing that, maybe what happens in episode 1 should have taken 3 episodes instead of 1 episode.
No, I totally get you.
And I think that is true. I think there's a degree to which, like, newer shows throw a lot more at you. Whereas I think there's a tendency to be more serialized and try and also just do a lot. Whereas older shows might be like more, I don't want to say basic, but like, you know what I mean, right?
No, I totally know what you mean.
Because basically it's like, one, it is a Gavan reboot kind of, except there are multiple Gavans that make a Sentai team. But also, for whatever reason, it's not just like a space cop story, it's a dimension cop story, because it's kind of like Gavan Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, it is, It's when I got to that, I was like, wow. My first thought was, wow, Spider-Verse is everywhere in culture now.
And, like, the main character is, like, the Red Gavan who can travel to other universes, and I think I've heard that other Gavans can't do that, at least not right away. Presumably they'll just be able to do that. Which would be weird. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Kamen Rider Decade has a dimension hopping plot, and I don't dislike Decade. But also, it's also a very different thing, because it's like, he's going to alternate... It's an anniversary series.
Right.
I've also heard rumors that this season this series might be 2 cours instead of 4. Which maybe explains the pacing.
Yeah, that would explain a lot.
It'd be interesting to see if, like, instead of being a yearly series, that Project Reds ends up being like a semi-yearly series. So, like, every 6 months we get like a reboot, like a new entry, which would be crazy and weird. Who knows?
Or it's
Things
like
are so very...
or it's like they run half the year and then they take the other half off.
Yeah, which is what Ultraman does. But the main thing is, like, Ultraman, in order to keep the time slot, they fill the other half of the year with, like, a show, basically shows that have a framing device of, like, the different Ultras reviewing older episodes of the franchise. So it's basically like an excuse to re-air older episodes of the framing device, and that allows them to keep the time slot for
that
half
totally
the year,
makes
and then the
sense,
second half of the year.
But unlike Ultraman, they don't have a legacy of a bunch of shows to do this with.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what if they take half a year off like Ultraman. I don't know what they do to fill the gap. So I feel like are they just gonna make a new show every 6 months? Or is this gonna be like a decade situation where, like, they make a shorter show just to, like, buy some time before it starts? Like, it's weird because, like, it's like Sentai ended when it was a forever franchise, and now we have a thing that's, like, clearly trying to be some sort of weird, and, like, the Project Red's a weird, vague, abstract name. That's clearly trying to be, like, still Sentai-esque without being tied to the name Super Sentai, either for, like, creative reasons or for Power Rangers is dead and we don't want to deal with that millstone reasons, or just, like, deal with Hasbro or anything to do with that. And so it's hard to know what things... It's very hard to know when the first installment is also, like, a weird semi-revival of a legacy show, but also it's not also a guarantee that everything after this will be like, oh, anyway, here's the Kakaider Project Red, and here's the Winspector Project Red, or something.
Totally.
I do think it'd be funny if they did like the movie for Infinity Gavan, where, like, they meet the original Gavan, and then Gavan's like, oh, it's Sherivan, and he's like, no, I'm Gavan. He's like, what do you mean? You're red. It is kind of funny that they named all of them Gavans. Like, all the Kongo Rangers are, like, Gavan blank in this new show. When we kind of, like, have a legacy of, like, the previous Space Sheriff continuity had, like, multiple Space Sheriffs with unique names, like Sherivan and Scheider. And I wonder if they'll loop that in, or if there's just going to be Gavans all the way down. Who knows? It's very strange. But we'll see. I guess we didn't explain what happens in this episode, but it's extremely, like, world where, like, aliens and humans coexist, and there's the space cops.
This made me think of Power Rangers SPD, which I quite enjoyed as a child.
Yeah. Do the premise of Deca Ranger as well, which of course became SPD. And I guess, yeah, technically, like, also in previous efforts, like in the mid-10s, they tried to like do like the new Gavan stuff, where like they tried to reboot it in a series of movies, and that new Gavan crossed over with the Deca Rangers in like the quote-unquote Space Squad series. So there is like a precedent for like some connection between Deca Ranger and Gavan. And of course, like to begin with, Gavan to begin with is Space Sheriff, Space Police. So it's like the overlap is pretty reasonable. But basically, I think it's like this Red is like, there's something about like the MacGuffins, which are like the emo bins things. I don't know what the names are yet, the proper nouns yet. That create the monsters of the week, but also let them transform. And the Gavan guy, he's like in the documentation department, so he can't actually take credit for arrests. So his bumbling coworkers, who he has like a bad relationship with, take credit for him or something. And then there's a disturbance, and he has to like, oh, we're not just the space police, we're the pan-dimensional police. And he goes to another dimension where he meets he fights another guy in that dimension, and there's another Gavan there who's like a samurai, and that's how episode 1 ends, basically. I feel like I did a disservice to the plot, but also so much happens that I'm like, well, there's a lot of exposition
a lot of it is just like setting exposition.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm hoping I had fun, but also I understand why it's like it's not like it didn't necessarily pull me in so much as like, oh, this is neat, and it's both like it was entertaining to watch with my eyes while I'm tired, and also there's a novelty in like this is a new era, and it feels weird, and it feels interesting to be in a new era of Toku.
Yeah, that's
so
totally
hoping
fair.
So I also think that your reaction isn't necessarily out of place. It's just like
You're just like, so much happened, and like the like episodic plot was like, wow, isn't protesting bad?
I mean that's just Japan. I mean that's just the West in general. Like, and you know,
that's true.
There's an episode of Ultraman 80 where like is also a protesters bad episode where like there's alien agitators, and then Ultraman 80 basically like he uses like a ray to like reveal the identity of the aliens in the protest, but he does this by mounting it onto basically a sniper rifle, and it's crazy.
That is pretty... Yeah, the thing is, it's not like I don't expect a protester's bad plotline in a show like this. It's more that it literally being the first episode really took me the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the cops. It's a propaganda show.
That's true.
There's an episode of Q Ranger, which was supposed to like promote the Space Squad stuff, because it was like, they meet up with Deca Red and the new Gavan, who show up and do a team up. And in the premise of Q Ranger, the universe has been taken over by like an evil empire, and the bosses of the enemies they fight are like the generals or officers of this empire. And the message of the episodes is the Q Ranger's like, damn, if only our universe had cops, then maybe our galaxy would be at peace. Our universe would be at peace. Because the evil empire is bringing chaos. And I'm like, no, you're fighting the empire's cops, the bad guys you're fighting. But of course, a Toei show would never actually introduce that nuance. But yeah, it's I mean, yeah, it is a superhero show for children in right-wing country Japan. So, you know, it is what it is. But if we enjoy ourselves along the way.
Yes. Yes. Oh, again, I think if it was like a middle of the show plot, I would have like rolled my eyes a bit but been able to acclimate. I think it literally being the first episode when I didn't have any attachment to anything.
I think I should probably rewatch the episode because I feel like I kind of didn't internalize that's what it was doing because I drove a lot today, so I'm a little tired out of it.
No, of course.
A lot of it washed out for me. But I like the suit. The suits are cool. Like, it does fuck me up to be like, yeah, it is Gavan, but he's red as the main suit because I guess that's what the whole Sentai thing is. But the original Gavan is silver. But it's a good looking suit. And the Metal Hero's shininess is nice. Remains to be seen if they'll do future Metal Hero stuff. Again, looking forward to when they do B-Fighter, and then all the most annoying Power Rangers fans, go like, "Whoa, they brought back Beetleborgs!" But yeah, that's probably... I think maybe it's just me rambling. I don't know if I rambled too much, but I think that was a pretty decent discussion of a singular episode of a TV show that we have not seen any future episodes of.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it.
I mean, we don't have to. I'm just like, I was more like, I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
So look forward to next month where there will actually be multiple episodes we can discuss. And maybe we'll actually know how long the show is.
Maybe.
But do you know what show I do know the length of?
Gamera Rebirth.
Yeah. It's a 6-episode show, except each episode is
cable
45
TV
minutes.
episode length, so it's like 12 anime episodes.
Yeah. Which it's interesting because actually maybe I'll get to the production stuff first and then I'll get my thoughts about the actual
Sure, yeah.
length.
Hit me. Well, what's up with the production of the show?
Yeah, so is the first entry in the series since Brave, which with a gap of 17 years, which means it's a bigger gap than between Super Monster and Guardian of the Universe. So that's wild. Apparently, there was an attempt to get a movie off the ground by Katakawa producer Shinichiro Inoue, which resulted in a 2015 short film directed by Katsuhito Ishii, released for its 50th anniversary. I did watch that last month because I think we considered maybe talking about it last month, and then we didn't, and partly it's because it was kind of nothing. But anyway, the intent was to use the short as a pilot for the new movie, but it didn't materialize. Also, when doing research on Shinichiro Inoue, I found this passage on his Japanese wiki page, which I just found really funny, and so I'm going to say it here.
Sure.
He also watched the Heisei Riders in real time and is particularly enthusiastic about Kamen Rider 5 to the point that he went to his ex-wife's house, from whom he was divorced at the time, to watch the broadcast with his son, who was being raised by his ex-wife, and immediately bought the Fives Edge and Fives driver that his son had demanded of him and gave them to him.
That's really funny.
I mean, to verify, this is good. But yeah, I watched the show. I watched a short like last month, and it's basically just like Gamera fights a bunch of Gyaos who are attacking a city, and then it's not clear. I had to look this up in the wiki after, but he also fights Virus for a bit at the end,
Right.
Which is an inclusion at Inoue's request, and also is funny when you find out what the direction of the plot of this show is. To be honest, I will also note that this Rebirth is not the first time that Netflix has been involved with the creation and distribution of a CG animated series based on a classic kaiju property. Because between 2017 and 2018, we had a trilogy of Godzilla movies written by Gen Urobuchi and produced by Polygon Pictures. These movies were also co-directed by Kobun Shizuno and, more relevant to us, Hiroyuki Sessino.
Oh yes, I was just going to say, I've not seen those movies. The only thing I know about them is that nobody likes them.
Yeah, same. In 2018, not long after the production of these movies wrapped up, Seshita left Polygon Pictures to go independent. That same year, he went out to dinner with Inoue and other Katakawa representatives. Upon telling them that he was currently basically independent and freelance, they pitched him on a Gamera project, and he immediately accepted. Also aside, at some point, Shusuke Kaneko had also pitched an idea for a new movie, but it didn't get greenlit because Rebirth was already in production, though for his part, Kaneko expressed his support for the project. One thing Seshita requested as part of working on the series was he wanted to put more focus on the Kaiju battles, since this was something felt like he wasn't able to include in the Godzilla trilogy. Katakawa accepted. Apparently, the original plan was there going to be 2 to 5 times more fight scenes than actually made in the show, but these got scaled back because of budget and time constraints. Things were also made difficult by the fact that I don't know how it's pronounced. Engi, Engi, all in caps, which was a new animation studio established by Katakawa in that same year, was given the project despite the fact they were specifically set up to be a 2D animation studio, and so they had to set up a 3D department specifically for Gamera Rebirth, which meant they were like,
Yeah.
you know, you can imagine.
The 3D when we talk about the show.
This is not Mayo, that's for sure. This is not Studio Orange, for that matter. Well, no. Studio Orange is like way better.
It's not. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's not good.
I think some things are better than others, and
yes.
that those some things are not the people and are the kaiju.
Yes. The kaiju fight scenes are pretty nice looking. But whenever it's like the humans have to be like super expressive and like, you know, show like strong emotions at each other, it really fumbles.
They're doing their best. Also, on the subject of fights, there was also policy in place to avoid a Gamera 3 situation and ensure that Gamera absolutely under no circumstances would cause any human casualties in its fight scenes. And so we had Gamera only showing up near the end of evacuations and then throwing Kaiju into open areas without people. Because we can't have Gamera accidentally killing people like he did in that one movie.
Yep.
The series was written by Seshita together with Kenta Ihara, Hiroshi Seko, and Tetsuya Yamada, all of whom had worked with Seshita on other Polygon Pictures works. Yamada specifically was involved in the Godzilla trilogy. However, the other two worked with Seshita on anime adaptations of the manga series Ajin and Levius, which I've not read, but I do suddenly remember Ajin being a thing that was people talked about in the mid-10s, and then it kind of just disappeared into the ether. So I was like, oh, I haven't heard that name in a while. There was also a novel that I believe I read includes stuff they couldn't include in the show. That Seshita co-wrote with Jin, as in the guy who made Kagero Days, the Vocaloid songs.
That's really funny.
I was like, damn, really? You know what? One thing you can give this show is that the CG in it looks better than the Macaco City Actors TV broadcast.
I believe it.
Oh, you haven't seen? You haven't seen?
No, I haven't.
Let's see the actors. Yeah, here's the TV broadcast versus the Blu-ray.
Oh my god! Holy fuck! Okay then.
Anyway. Other staff carried over from the Godzilla trilogy were episode director Yuichi Ishima, who was an animator on the trilogy initially, sculpting director Mitsunori Katama, production designers Naoya Tanaka and Ferdinando Patulli, editor Ayahida, and another the voice cast, which I will loop around to later. By which I mean in like 2 minutes. One of the goals I was just like, I looked at how much text I had in between the voice cast and here. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be that long. One of the goals of the series was to stay faithful to the previous entries of the franchise, including the Showa era, and as well as to pay tribute to the works of Noriaki Yuasa. Consequently, they decided to set the show in the year 1989 as a means of representing the bridge between the Showa and the Heisei era, because of course that's when the transition between the two happened. The kaiju designs are done by Ken Takahama. It seems he's been involved with the franchise since the Heisei trilogy in some capacity that I could not confirm in detail. But for Gamera the Brave, he was the one who designed Toto, the baby Gamera. And then he was also the kaiju designer for the aforementioned 2015 short. And even like in this show, the designs of Gamera and Gyaos from said short, he basically reused designs from the short for Gamera and Gyaos in this show. Though Gamera's design was tweaked to make him a little less intimidating.
I feel like okay. This is gonna sound like a really strange nitpick, but just since we're talking about the designs, Gamera feels a bit like a little too gray. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Like, for me, I'm like, he looks exceedingly teal.
Yeah.
But that's just a me thing.
No, he looks just a little off.
Some of that might just be the CG animation, to be honest. TBH.
Very possible.
I will say that there's a lot of Showa kaiju in this series that get a significant glow up.
This is true.
If they had these designs in the original movies, we'd probably rank them higher. But at the same time, I don't think that these designs would have been possible in Suitmation. No. Especially not in that era. And with the budget and time constraints they were working under.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, character designs were by Atsushi Tamura, who was also the animation director for Gundam The Origin, and both the character designer and animation director for the Doan's Island movie and Weathering with You.
Wow, that's a really funny crossover between Gundam and Gamera.
There's gonna be some more when I say the voice cast. Which I'll get to right now. Our main characters are Hiroki, aka Boko, played by Hisako Kanemoto. She voices Yayoi, aka Cure Peace in Smile Precure. Ami, aka Sailor Mercury in Sailor Moon Crystal and the newer Sailor Moon stuff. This one's for you and I, Atra and IBO. And also Sugubi and Bandori, which I'm not as familiar with because the only Bandori I know is Maigo and Michika. I'm a secondary. Satoru, aka Joe, is played by a guy who I'm sure many of us have heard before, Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, aka Kirito from Sword Art Online, and also also Beetlejuice in ReZero, which is a role I actually like him in, because he's fun in that role. And then also Vash the Stampede in the modern Trigun reboot stuff, which I do not care for. Jinichi, aka Jin.
I've seen the '90s Trigun anime, but I haven't seen any of the modern stuff.
I've dropped modern Trigun after like 3 episodes. Because it was too grim and edgy. Anyway.
Yeah, it's fair.
Basically, the parts of Trigun I like from the 90s show is the first half when it was like a plot of the week show, and when it tried to get serious about like the plot with Knives, who's a character I just do not enjoy or care about. I didn't like the show as much, and that's what the reboot focuses on the most at the start. And so I'm like, I don't care about this at all. I hate this. Anyway, Jun, aka Junichi, is played by Aki Toyasaki. She plays Yui from K-On!, Weeharu from Raildex, shout out to Fate Moon Archive, Momika from Penguin Drum, and Medaka from Medaka Box, that one's for me. Douglas, aka Brody, insert Brody quest here. Perhaps weirdly appropriate for how he acts in the very first episode, played by gnome blackface guy Subaru Kimura.
That's crazy.
Plays Takeshi from Doraemon, Kamba from Penguin Drum, and Vice from Kamen Rider Revice, which is a show that sucks.
Rev.
Then we have one of my goats, voice actor-wise. James Tazaki, played by the Mamoru Miyano. He was apparently in the Godzilla trilogy some guy called Haru Sakaki. He plays Ultraman Zero in the Ultraman franchise. He plays Setsuna in Gundam 00. He plays Rintaro from Steins Gate. And he plays Shutaro in the reboot of Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah, he's a pretty prolific guy.
You know who else is prolific? Emiko's voice actress, Saori Hayami.
Who's also in a billion things.
Yeah, apparently played Haruka Sasaki in the Godzilla trilogy. Plays Kotoha, aka Kirfelice from Witchy Precure. She plays Fallon in Dungeon Meshi. She plays Yor in Spy Family. She plays Yosogi in Monogatari series. And she plays Yachio in the newly released Cosmic Princess Kaguya. Then we have General Osborne, who's Brody's dad, played by Kazuya Nakai, who played a guy called Haluelu Doludo in the Godzilla trilogy. He plays Wits in Gundam X, Shinjiro in Persona 3, Masamune Date in Sengoku Basara, and Garu, aka Okame Blue, in Uchu Sentai Q Ranger. Then we have a guy who is a big name, but also is barely in the show, and I don't know why he's here. Commander Sasaki, played by the guy who was secretly twice married, Takahiro Sakurai. Who apparently played a guy called Metfies in the Godzilla trilogy. Perhaps notably, though, plays Cloud in Final Fantasy VII and all its spin-offs. More so its spin-offs, because the original game obviously wasn't voice acted. Also for us, asterisk derogatory, McGillis from IBO. And he also plays Saber in Fate Prototype.
Yeah.
Then some minor roles. Ai Kawada, Hiroki's mom, played by Nanako Mori. Major Anatsu, played by Yu Shimamura. I also don't know why she's doing this plot. And then there's a guy called Dario, who's played by Kosuke Onishi. The series was broadcast. It was released in a single batch on Netflix, as Netflix does, on September 7th, 2023. However, last year in 2025, there was a TV broadcast version of the show that was aired, which split up the original 6-hour-long episodes into 12 normal-length half-hour episodes. Which I do wonder how that feels, because the thing that I held off on saying is I feel like it is... It's weird how this show has the runtime of like a 12-episode anime, but because it's 6-hour-long episodes, the pacing just feels different.
Yeah, it's like it was definitely made with its format in mind, I think, you know.
It also meant it was harder for me to like binge episodes, because I was like, I don't know, longer things are more exhausting for me to watch. But it is interesting, like the way that just the change in like format, despite the time being the same, makes a difference. I'm curious how the show would be if it was 12 episodes. As how it would be the TV broadcast version. But also, the original version is like the 6-episode version, so that should be the version you watch first and foremost. Overall, the series seems to have been received a bit of a mixed reception, with the general opinion being favorable to the plot, but more critical of the animation quality.
Yeah, that's totally fair, because I do think the show is pretty fun. But
seems to reflect...
doesn't look good.
Of course, the animation quality seems to reflect the budget and scheduling issues the show faced. There's definitely a willingness by the crew of the show to make a sequel or future seasons, and they I have ideas. I think the director was like, I have plans for 5 seasons if they wanted me to make it. But all of this is up in the air because there's been no announcement of such a thing, and it's been 2.5 years. So 3.5. No, 3.5. 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Yes, math. And yeah, Gamera Rebirth. I guess first, just broadly speaking, broadest overviews of the plot. It's about 3 kids, Hiroki, Satoru, and Jun, who Hiroki's going to go to cram school or something, and it's so we our last summer together, and we want to make a radio or something. And then, as this is happening, there's rumblings of a kaiju awakening, and it's starting near the equator, but then heading to Japan, and they lose their money to a bunch of American students, expatriates, led by some kid named Brody. They nickname Brody, who's this really obnoxious, racist white guy.
Yes.
And then he steals their money, and they try to make a plan to get the money back from him. But when that happens, the Gauss attack happens, and fate conspires that Brody ends up becoming the 4 of their friends, just by they help him out, and they get wrapped into a situation where some guy named Tazaki and Emiko, who are connected with a weird organization called the Eustace Foundation, who are studying kaiju. They're for some reason the kaiju seem to be targeting kids, and so we're going to monitor the kids, and in cooperation with our good friends, the U.S. military and the Japanese government. And Brody's dad is General Johnson, who is one of the leading officers of the U.S. Army stationed in Japan. And basically all throughout the first few episodes, there's just you see some people talking to there's some meetings at some guys, the Japanese government, who are damn, there's kaiju stuff happening. And then we get shots of a girl named Major Anatsu telling Commander Sasaki, hey, there's some kaiju stuff happening. And this does not become relevant until the final episode, I guess.
Yeah.
And then what happens is we basically get 3 episodes of serialized yet Monster of the Week plots where first there's the inciting incident of Gauss, and then Gamera saves the day. Then Brody wants to prove his worth to his dad, and so he recruits the 3 others into trying to fight the kaiju, which is Jiger hiding underground, and Gamera fights Jiger and wins. They get on a boat for some reason, and Zero attacks, and of course Gamera wins. And then we get to the second half of the show, where they get to this weird, I guess the platform from Metal Gear Solid 2, where there's a mummified corpse of Virus, which is supposed to be the original kaiju, and then the Guiron comes and fucks some shit up, and Gamera gets injured, and then we slowly get the reveal that the Eustace Foundation is an evil organization, secret cabal that wants to reset humanity, and also wants to do this by feeding children to kaiju, and there's specific children with genetic codes that let them control kaiju, and so they want to feed Hiroki to the ultimate kaiju virus, and apparently in the past Gamera betrayed the plans, so now they're doing the trans again, and the board of the Eustace Foundation is on the moon, which James Tazaki wants to go become an entrepreneur on the moon for some reason? ? I didn't quite follow this. Maybe if I read the wiki to try and write summaries, I get this, but either way, Emiko secretly is revealed to be evil, and she's I want to do this plan for my own purposes and betray, Gendo at the end of Evangelion voice, basically.
Yes.
And then, Virus gets revived and gets to basically be the final boss kind of asterisk, which I thought was, wow, that's inspired considering Virus's first appearance. But yeah, shit happens. They try and go to the moon, except they fail, and so Satoru, who's basically been the most guys, I think it's stupid to get wrapped up. He's like the most immature of the group because he has to
he's like the protective older brother type.
And also because he's specifically his mom and younger brother died, and so he's basically raising money for him and his drunk dad. Welcome back, Sakiko Togawa. And he basically sacrifices themselves when Virus shoots down their space shuttle, and this fucks Hiroki up. And then eventually, after Virus dies, it's revealed there was a second Gauss that was his secret super mutant Gauss that 1 eats Emiko and then 2 eats Virus and becomes the final boss. It's Gamera in the post-90s. We have to have Gauss be the final villain. We have to. And so yeah, the Gamera struggles, but then Tazaki Izo's yeah, fuck the Eustace Foundation. I'm gonna go align myself with the real heroes, the Japanese government. And then the Japanese government helps revive Gamera, and also the JSDF helps fight Gyaos, and also Hiroki's mom basically forces the girl bosses her way into telling General Johnson to send the U.S. Army after Gyaos 2 or something. I don't know. And then the day is saved, and then Gamera has 2 minutes where they think he's going to be evil, but then he instead blows up the Eustace Foundation base on the moon. And then the show ends, and Tazaki invents the iPhone, and also Satoru didn't die.
Yes, well, the Satoru didn't die. Okay. I read that bit as kind of a sequel bait.
Yeah, it's definitely a sequel bait. Because what happens, they have a communicator that the Eustace Foundation used to keep the kids connected, which is oh man, we want to get out on radios and walkie-talkies, but this is even cooler because it's so futuristic. And then, as they're clearing out their base to try and move on with their lives, Hiroki leaves behind the communicator, and then Satoru tries to call his communicator, and he's hey, are you there? And no, he's not. It's just kind of funny. But yeah.
Yeah, who knows if they'll ever make that sequel.
Tazaki, showing up in, the Steve Jobs bit, showing up with the iPhone is so funny. Especially because he just spends the whole show being, a jackass. But yeah, that's Gamera Rebirth, a show that is strange in trying to be an episodic and also serialized show. More so serialized in the second half, for sure, though.
Yeah, I did think it was pretty fun, though. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it did an interesting job trying to balance the various styles and tones of the Gamera franchise in a cohesive whole. I think it works, personally. It's a show with child protagonists with the bottom of the Gamera, but also it doesn't shy away from having a bleaker, darker plot, while still being subjecting the kids to this, and even though they do fake it out at the end, they're still oh damn, a kid protagonist just died in this show, and he's the older one, but still.
Yeah, he's still a kid.
But,
and okay, they even have the token American side character.
That's true. I forgot about that. I was it's funny they have a white guy on their team, but yeah.
Yeah. The movies used to have white guys all the time. So there's one here, and he's
yeah, that's so good.
He's a racist bully at the start, but he learns not to be that way by hanging out with the kids.
It is funny how quickly he changes. There is a thing that does not matter. I think I have to wonder if the show was longer, some things would matter, because there's a brief bit where you find out that Jun is actually a girl.
Yes, and they start ship teasing them a little bit.
For 5 minutes, the Brody is oh, Jun is a girl? Whoa, blush, and then everything happens, so there's just no more time for that.
Yes.
It is what it is. Yeah. And so, like, we get... Yeah. Many have noted that, like, the only Showa movie that didn't get kaiju representation is Baragon, which is the one movie without a kid in it. That's funny.
Yeah, that totally tracks.
I do think... Well, I think this show's wild and bananas. Virus as, like, the kind of ultimate kaiju kind of Asterix is inspired. And he actually looks cool because he's like a cool squid rather than whatever the fuck he was in that movie. Guron is so cool in this. Like, he's just like doing backflips and slicing shit, and he looks so cool. Like, I thought he was like a fun looking guy in the Showa era, but he's still a bit grody or like goofy. But here he's just like looks really menacing and cool. Like, they managed to make the knife head guy like really intimidating. Yeah, and Jiger actually looks appealing rather than like doo doo. Yeah, I like the main characters. I like Hiroki. I like their dynamic. I like you slowly get their backstory of like, oh, you know, they were sort of like outcast kids who kind of found each other. And Brody is the one who's like the new one to the group, sort of like has to learn their dynamics from talking to them. Which is fun because he's like these kids have like their own history that we were not privy to when the show started, and so we get like the new member of their team sort of like as our audience stand-in for those moments. There's a funny part where like episode 3 we find out like how Jin became friends with like the other two, and then in episode 4 Brody asks Jin how she became friends with him, and like she's about to say, but then it gets interrupted by the flock because like, well, we don't need to hear that. We need to hear that again. Tasaki's a funny guy in terms of like being a slime ball, but still valuing humanity and the kids more, but in a tsundere way, where he like, you know, he pretends to defect to sacrifice the kids, but like obviously does help them. It betrays the Foundation in the end. Emiko's betrayal is kind of really abrupt, to be honest.
Yes. I definitely feel like it is very possible that they made this show with slightly more time in mind.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna betray the Foundation because, like, one of the leaders of the Foundation is her aunt, who is suggested to have killed her mom or something.
Yeah. It's not very fleshed out.
That said, hearing Saori Hayami like be angry at Gamera is fun. And then like Virus's corpse is coming targeting, and she's like, that's fun, or something. Like just
Yeah.
And then she gets eaten by Gyaos in the next episode. Like some real Jurassic Park territory with that scene. Feels like. Like the way she's like resigned herself, as well.
Yeah, totally.
I enjoyed, you know, I don't care for Hiroki's mom, but she does turn out okay in the end. Because she's like the kind of person who's like, you shouldn't care about your loser, not smart friends, and you should study for your grades. And then by the end, she kind of like, one, she proves how much she cares about him by telling off a military man. And two, when like in the sort of like the epilogue, Hiroki's just talking back to her like openly and just going out to play with his friends, and she's like, "Oh, was he always like that?" And I can't tell if she didn't. I mean, to some extent, Haruki's obviously changed, but to some extent, she feels like she's more attentive to like his emotional senses, and she's like, "Oh, wait a minute," which is nice. But also, it feels like that her development kind of happens off screen because, like, oh, something is happening to my son, and you're just filling the blanks.
Yeah.
And Satoru's dad is shown on screen for one moment, and that's all we need to know, that he's just like a drunk. Yeah. Yeah, I think the kaiju fight scenes are cool. They do some nice diversity of setting and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Virus is not Virus. Virus is cool in this one, but it can turn into a rocket. I guess he maybe does he do that in the original. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I will say that like, it's interesting they kept like the whole lore from the Heisei era where the kaiju are biologically manufactured by an ancient society. The difference that this time, like, the society is still around and wants to use them again. There is something about Secret Cabal that is literally feeding children to monsters to purge overpopulation.
They're kind
that
of
hits
like
different in the current year. But also it's also undercut by like, and then the people who helped resolve the situation and arrest, I guess, the Foundation are the good guys of Japan, the US, and the UN, which is a joke. Especially because the US is the people who be running the organization. But anyway, the liberalism in the final episode is off the charts. Especially when, like, Sasaki, the tank guy, who was basically in, like, one scene for, like, the first few episodes, just like, kaiju developments. And then, I guess, has a moment to, like, sacrifice himself to save Gamera, except he doesn't die. And I'm like, who is this? Who are you? Why are you in this show? What was your purpose? He seems like he and Asuka seem like they had a plan for something, and then they didn't have the time.
Unless they're like trying to butt in for season 2, which I don't think is ever going to be real. But
yeah, could be, but we won't. They should put out something for the 60th anniversary.
They should.
But for now, we got nothing. It's neat. The show starts in media res with like a scene from the final episode where like
it's like him reflecting on the fact that like Joe's dead.
Yeah, and we don't know. Obviously, he's just like trying to contact Joe on the radio on the beach. But
yeah.
And then what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, we get like some neat episodes. Like Jun gets to like do plans. Like Jun helps solve how to defeat Zigra by like taking over a radio tower. Things like that. It is fun when Gamera's sole human kill is blowing up the space base on the moon. And then he does the Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good, and then vanishes into dust. But then you find out he's in Toto form at the end. Like he died in the game Rebirth.
Like the title of the show.
Points at the screen. I only just realized that now. I feel like you could probably make the argument. I've been thinking about this. Like, obviously, like, you could definitely make the argument that this show does a good job consolidating and making the different flavors of the franchise into one cohesive whole, in a way. But you could also argue it's in 2010s, 2020s fashion, like it maybe isn't doing anything new, it's just recycling the old and referencing the past. which I think is like a thing like most media we're in the current era seems to be doing a lot of, unfortunately. And maybe in the context of Gamera not existing for 17 years, that's fine. But it's like a thing to worth consider in its criticism, I think. I don't know what you think. I have to think about that, but
No, I think that's probably a fair criticism, but I thought the show was a little janky, yes, but mostly like well executed and fun. So I had a good time.
I also think like, I definitely had a good time. It's just more like trying to think like, be like media criticism brain. Like, is it bringing anything new to the table? Question mark, maybe, but also perhaps its ability to synthesize the different eras of Gamera is itself a novel and thing, and also it's a TV show, which is another thing. It's like it's doing a longer form of serialized storytelling, whereas the entire rest of the franchise has just been movies, and so that's also like different.
Right.
And it's like there's a lot of characters like i.e. Kaiju that we have not seen in a while getting like a modern revamps that are like elevate them. I think like these a lot of the Kaijus in this that weren't like obviously Gamera and Gyaos already had their redesigns in the 90s, and those have not really changed that much. Like the Gyaos in this is still, even if it's like marginally different, it's still like using the 90s one as a base.
Yeah.
The other ones are obviously like new incarnations of these classic Kaiju that we barely knew or only saw once. And it's cool seeing them like redesigned, especially when like, given, the materials and resources that Yuasa's team had at the time, like some of the limitations and the actual designs for some of those older Kaiju. And it's neat seeing them reimagine what Gamera could be in the modern era. Yeah, it's just it's a fun watch.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add to this?
No, not particularly. I just had a pretty fun time with it.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's worth a watch, and I think we definitely got more out of it because we watched literally every Gamera movie.
Yeah. It was fun trying to see them like take the different like tones and styles of Gamera, which is like a very it's a very disparate thing that's been reinterpreted a lot. And I think trying to make that all coherent to something is pretty fun.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't need to go out of your way to watch every single one of those movies before watching this.
Yeah.
And also, not all those movies are worth watching anyway. But, it's still, it's good. Nice to watch. I guess they should make another, but also maybe don't make a CG show next time. Maybe get a little better at it if you're going to do CG.
Yeah, please.
Get ready for CG horses and Steel Ball Run next month or something.
Yeah, damn. I should catch up on JoJo at some point. I've seen the first. I tried to watch part 4 as it was airing, and then I got distracted and fell off, and then I never really just went back to finish the parts of JoJo I hadn't read or watched.
Part 4 is good. JoJo Lands is just starting its second arc, ? Who knows where that's going to go, but so far that's been good. It'd be fucked up if, like, it could be likely, but it'd be fucked up if they animated JoJolion while JoJo Lands was still running, because then it's like, well, damn, now you're basically caught up to all of the JoJo. But yeah. Do you want to do a quick off-the-cuff Kaiju ranking of the Kaiju in the show?
well, the thing is, they're not really new kaiju. It's kind of just the guys.
It's
who
more like,
already ranked.
but are they like? Have they shifted in esteem? Based
Okay,
on
well, okay.
their appearance in the show.
What is the list of kaiju in the show? Do you have an
So we have
by any shot? Do you have an image that has all of them? Because I think this would probably help.
Not all of them, but I can. I'll get images for you.
Thank you.
First off, we obviously have Gamera. You know what Gamera looks like.
Yeah, that's Gamera.
We love a Gamera.
I love Gamera, but I do think the color scheme on Gamera is weird in the show.
Yeah, I could definitely feel that. We of course have Gyaos, and there's also like the super amped up Gyaos, but you don't need to like specify that.
Yeah, that's Gas. I think Gas looks really good in the show.
Yeah, probably his best design, I think. I don't know if I care much for the final boss version of Gyaos, but I do like the original design of Gyaos. There's Jiger, who looks good for the first time ever. It looks alright, at least. I mean, he's definitely a big improvement.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think Jiger is my second. Well, I don't know. Jiger is definitely in my bottom two of Showa Kaiju.
Yeah, totally.
We got Zigra, who, to be honest, was already cool in the show era, but this like new design looks really cool still too.
Yeah,
there's a bit where he flies a bit, which is kind of crazy.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to rank these because I think they all look pretty good. Like these are all kind of bangers.
Yeah. Fucking MVP in my opinion, Guiron. Look at that guy. That's a real strong design IMO.
Yeah, totally.
They make it work. He's got like a weird like his mouth opens up in a weird way, which is fun. And he just like attacks by like doing backflips where like buildings suddenly get bisected and it's crazy. It's cool. I definitely think like he's also the one who like severs Gamera's arm, where I'm like, oh hey, that's the thing from Gamera 3 where Gamera loses his arm. And finally we have a Virus, who's gold for some reason, and looks more like an actual squid and rocket thing, but obviously you can still see some of the influences of his show design. This is like the biggest glow up.
These designs are all so good, is the thing.
Yeah. Like obviously Jiger is a pretty big glow up, but I think Virus is like the biggest glow up of all of them. So I guess the difference is that Virus in the Showa era was like a person. And this is just a big squid monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
ranking these is hard because I think they're all really good. Is the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think my favorite design is Guiron by far, but that's just me.
Yeah, I
maybe you can pick a favorite and.
Yeah, I'll pick. I actually think out of these designs, Gamera might be my least favorite. Because I think it is just a downgrade from normal Gamera, you know?
Yeah, like again, like Gamera is probably the one where they could not change it much at all because he is the mascot. Like obviously, there's some radical redesigns in the Heisei era, but also I feel like one, you kind of get the whole spectrum of what Gamera is like between all the different movies, and two, he's the the mascot.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Maybe Jiger?
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. But again, these are all really good. So it's like...
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, it's fine. I feel like we kind of ran out of steam the longer we tried to do the actual ranking before. So it's fine if we don't actually do it. But it's just nice to appreciate these designs. And I hope they get reused in something in the future. I think it's a shame there isn't like a big kaiju crossover thing, like the way there's a Super Robot Wars thing.
Right.
Like there's so many kaiju things out there that would be nice to see them crossover. That's just me though. Yeah. Other than that, I think I showed you, like, there's been a couple of emails we've gotten in the main feed, which is that, yeah, I like Turtle Tea Time, and I'm like, yay.
Good. I'm glad people like it.
But also, I wish people would send in actual Gamera emails.
Yes, well, especially because we're done with Gamera now.
Yeah, we're super done. And we have something new, a new season, quote unquote, starting next month. That I guess we're keeping a secret still because that'd be funny that way. And that should take us to, I think when we planned out the schedule, that's supposed to take us through to November-ish, question mark?
Yeah, is it time to announce what we're doing?
I'm not sure if we should announce it or if we should just
cold drop the episode. Yeah, you know.
I think that's what you suggested a few months ago.
Okay, past Katherine was cooking. Let's just cold drop the episode.
Yeah, we might not do that for other seasons, but I think for this one it might be fun.
Yes. Also, I suspect that most people have already seen what we'll be covering, so it's not like they need.
I have not, which is also. Yeah, I have not, which is part of why we're covering it, and my history of not watching it but looking forward to watching it is going to be something I'll reveal when we get to it.
Next
I wonder if people can guess what it is, but there's definitely a degree to which I'm also like happy we're doing this before other podcasts I know who are going to do this are doing this.
Totally.
So look forward to that. I'm acquiring the files. Hoping they have we shall see if they're quote unquote uncensored. I'll clarify what that means when we actually get to next month. But yeah, I'm excited.
Same.
And, yeah, it'll be quite a departure from what we previously watched. Let me tell you.
Definitely.
But for now, do you want to plug things?
I'm Kimmy Katherine on Blue Sky, mismatchedwings.h.io. I make games sometimes. I should make them more. That's about it, really. Me too.
Yeah. You can follow the pod at UltraCubePod it's Ultra Q on Blue Sky, that's QUE, and then with an underscore in between on Twitter. And we have the email ultrapod@gmail.com, which you send me emails to. None of you have ever sent Gamera emails, but if you have Gamera emails, do send them. We'll still listen. Other than that, I guess by the time, I don't know when that episode's coming out, but I guess maybe by the time you listen to this, I'll be soon on Fate Moon Archive for the first time, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
It was up in the air because I was like, there's no way I'd be able to pencil in the time in my day to record an episode that is as long as a Fate Moon Archive episode if I was at my parents' place. Basically. Right, yeah. That's why I was tentative, because I was like, I'm in my apartment for the next week or so. So all I need to do is just do all the reading I need to do, and then I won't disappoint people. Are you on? You helped arrange the schedule. Are you going to be on those episodes? I'm sure you are.
Yeah. I just don't know which one you're on unless something goes wrong, for like, I have sudden visitors or whatever, I should be on those episodes.
Yeah. I expect you'll be on multiple.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm at least on 2.
Yeah. Plus, you're the one who like has read it before, so.
Well, I'm still reading it, but I'm almost done. I'll probably be done by the
Oh,
next time
okay.
I record one of these.
Okay. I recently got the first game because it was on sale on Steam.
Yeah.
I wish I was back in the visual novel mood so I could actually go finish Suicessor remake.
Yeah, it's not that long. I will say, like, if you
yeah, I know it's short. It's just like
in for a little bit, you should be able to finish.
Yeah, it's just like I was in like a VN mood in like September, October, and then the moment kind of passed, and then I'm like, well, and now it's hard for me to do the thing, which is annoying because I know remake is short because I read the original and I know the remake is not. It's longer, but not that much longer. So
yeah, it's like 1.5 times longer or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll try and manage. But there's not a visual novel podcast.
Yeah.
No, who knows? Maybe I'm not against doing a visual novel season later down the road because we can do whatever the fuck we want. But we have not done that yet.
We'll see. So. We've our next thing's gonna keep us covered for a while.
Yeah. I guess for now, you can do your sign off for the final time, or you have to invent a new one.
No, wait, what if I just keep it past the Gamera season? I think that would be really funny.
And then when people tune into our redacted pod and see you sign off with Atlantis, everyone's like, what does this have to do?
Yes, it's going to be great. I'll see you in the depths of Atlantis.
And I'll see you in Shell.